Hi everybody. Nice to meet you all. Thank you so much for coming and supporting me and Bly in our journey as artists. It's a tough journey, but we're doing our best. And so we're so grateful. The Lowry Gallery is just such a great step, I think, in the right direction. It's a beautiful gallery, my favorite gallery I've ever seen. New York, California, Minnesota, or otherwise. It's just an amazing gallery, and we're so grateful to be part of it. So, we're lucky people. Excited to work toward our show in 2028. So hopefully to see you all there this fall. I'm Rowan. I'm a very different artist than Bly, even though I work within hyperrealism as well. I work in a style of, maybe next slide, working style called composite. I've been calling composite for hyperrealism, or advantage of hyperrealism, where what I do is I kind of bring together many different photographs that I take of various models and sources, like a photograph of my mom, or of my wife Claire, or my friend Jamaica Feinberg, or my friend Corey Smith, and so on. I take various photographs and I kind of stitch them together digitally in Photoshop, and then I draw from that collage. So it's a different, it's kind of maybe a bit more advanced, but I think maybe what makes us who we are is our imaginations, and so I find it quite important personally to bring my imagination, some sense of my imagination into my art as well, besides translating photographs very literally to you. So this is a drawing based on I'm obsessed with Franz Kafka, a great author. He wrote Memoirs, System of the Trial, and so on. And this is a drawing based on his story called A Country Doctor. It's actually recently purchased and acquired by the Walker Art Center. So I was really lucky to have that happen. There's actually been quite a tough battle. I contacted so many places and so many phone calls, so many emails, and finally, a longtime patron of mine named Rowan Kellen, who runs the Kellen Foundation, he has connections, and he knew the president of the Walker, and was able to connect me with the president of the Walker. So it's helpful to have connections as artists too, just so it's a good thing to have connections. And I'm not sure what else to say about this piece. It took me 600 hours to finish, so I'm equally obsessive as Bly is. I like to sort of challenge myself. I think it's important to challenge yourself in whatever field you're in. Whatever you do, I think it's important to keep changing and developing as a person and as an artist. So don't just do the same thing every day. You want to keep improving with every piece. This is sort of like a doctor that visits a dying child, and these horses kind of come through the window. They're sort of symbolic horses because the family typically notice them. They kind of maybe represent the sort of the madness of the world, or the madness of poverty, entering this family's life. And so it's really sort of about a drawing about grief and about some, I guess that unstoppable madness, I guess, more. Sort of close up of horses. I take lots of photographs, or sometimes I find photographs online. I have models posed for me, and I take photographs, and then I stitch them together digitally in Photoshop, and then I draw from them. Very tough drawing here. Another Franz Kafka-based drawing based on his story called A Hunger Artist, which is about sort of an artist whose art is to sort of advance him for as long as he possibly can. And then there's a crowd that kind of gathers, and musicians that play, and this impresario that sort of runs the performance. This one took me 1,500 hours to finish. It's a little bit smaller than this size you're seeing here. This one was purchased by the Minneapolis Institute of Art, so it's there right now. This is a really tough one. It's sort of maybe a step forward in my artistic kind of trajectory, I guess. So very, very tough one to do, but I accomplished it. It was just one of those it felt like a weight, and when I finished it, it felt like I was relieving myself of that weight, of that burden, which is a great feeling, I think, feeling of like relief and peace, right? But it's also very tense and difficult when you're doing it at the time. So I really crave those moments of like peace and resolution when our work is off my shoulders. It was nice that they just can kind of find a nice home. So yeah, that's something that we could really just eat and get close up. Sort of like an all-over drawing where every single square inch was filled with some kind of detail. My friend David Feinberg was my mentor and my advisor at U of M. I was at my school there. Just some friends, Rick, Rachel, just some friends from grad school and so on. And I put myself in the drawing too. I don't know how to like self-absorbed, but I'm playing the violin in the drawing. And then some other musicians. Miles Davis and so on and so on. It has a celebratory. So there's an ironic tone to my drawings. It's a celebratory tone. It's all flowers and musicians, and it was a very happy person here. But this is also about starvation and hunger, and so very important crowd. So there's a bit of both. I like to. One of my goals is to really. I tell stories. I tell stories through my drawings, as you can tell. I think it's because my parents were both writers, both authors. One's an author, my mom's a poet, my dad's a screenwriter and a novelist. And so they're both writers, so they really kind of instilled in me like a love of language, of words, of stories. They would read to us, Alice in Wonderland, and they'd read to us The Great Fairy Tales when we were growing up, and all these great stories. And so I think that intense parts, that sort of childhood, those childhood stories. And so I think there's something really powerful about how stories can tell the truth about humanity, even some darker parts about humanity. The violence and tyranny, or the cruelty, or just the darkness that maybe is not always uncovered. So I feel like one of my goals as a narrative artist is to sort of tell some kind of truth about humanity while it is free through by telling stories. I guess that's cool. This is a drawing based on Franz Kafka's novel called The Trial. Hopefully some of you read it. It's just about a man who's accused of a crime. He's never told what crime he's accused of. Again, he has to navigate these sort of systems of bureaucracy. And so at the end, I don't want to give too much away, but at the end of the novel, this happens. He gets murdered. You don't have him ever told what crime he committed in the first place. So typical Kafka story about the oppression of bureaucracy, the evils of bureaucracy. While I was nice enough to post for me here, these are my father's hands that I took photographs of, and I kind of enlarged. I actually reknit these hands several times in the drawing. They start out very small, and they kind of increased to much before he was done. So then, my friend David Feinberg does this really amazing face. I'm always on the lookout for amazing faces. David Feinberg, who's a 40-year teacher at the professor at the U of M, he has this really, he's such a kind, sweet man, very lovely man. But his face is very brutal looking and very much like a killer. He's very nice enough to, he's a friend of mine, so he's very nice enough to pose me as the killer who's in this dog. I told him to look like a killer, he says, yeah, I'll do it. I'm always looking for interesting faces. This was a tough one to do. This is back in grad school in 2010, about 16 years ago. I can't believe it was 16 years ago. I feel like that. This time flies by. This is the trial. I continue to. I don't just tell fictional stories for my drawings. Sometimes I worked with genocide and Holocaust survivors. Many times in the past, I actually wrote a book about a Holocaust survivor and got a grant for that. For Renault, the Minnesota Jewish Council. Sometimes I tell stories of. I interview these survivors and I transcribe their testimony. I write call outs, and then with their permission, I make a drawing based on their harrowing stories, their traumatic stories, and I interview them, and they give me information, and I interpret that information in a drawing. I try to create drawing from their spirit, because it is more and more I like to get into these true life stories. This is based on a Cambodian genocide surviving story. So these are the kind of the kind of coverage that they appeared on bicycles on this path that the king and sisters were on, and they he quickly got off the road to hide in the rice fields, and the coverage soldiers on bicycles interrogated his brother on the road as they were going from town to town. I really get a lot out of making drawings based on these true life stories of these survivors. This is kind of the direction I want to continue my art, making it possible to kind of keep interviewing these survivors, maybe Rwandan survivors or Holocaust survivors, and so on, and tell them their stories. And then when I get too tired of just too I don't know what's the word, disillusioned about the chaos and confusion in humanity. I like to just draw simple landscapes that are sort of absent of people, and something that sometimes you probably have the feeling where I have enough of people. I kind of want to enjoy nature and be away from people and all that chaos. And so as soon as I draw, I travel with my wife and the family to various national parks. This is a Badlands National Park, and take lots of photographs, and I make just very kind of peaceful images of just the natural landscape that are absent of humanity. I definitely need that kind of peace and stuff like that. So this is Badlands National Park. I don't remember where this ended up. This was at the show at the Burnett Gallery before it closed a couple of 2 years ago. Carpinteria, California is I'm sure you all have many places in your lives that are especially important to you. California is one of them for me. Why? Especially Carpinteria, which is kind of a town close to Santa Barbara, California. We used to just have very fond memories of traveling there with my parents, and so these just are very fond memories of traveling with my parents, Vinny for Boulder side. Just a large-scale painting I did of California coastline in Carpinteria back in 2018. I love painting as well, but mostly I draw on this. I would say, I definitely like to. I'm trying to get more and more to color. Another Carpinteria cloudscape. So this is sort of a theme with me about sort of doing sort of just very cerebral cloudscapes. This one is a mechanical pencil. I wish I could give you all a demo about how we work, but I think Watchville we talked about how we draw. We work with mechanical pencil and sort of dark drawing pencil, along with a Q-tip to sort of create these sort of blurry areas, this sort of misty, foggy from blurry areas, and then we can use an eraser stick that's sharpened to the fine points to sort of cut into these lighter areas, revealing the white page below it. So we have similar styles and similar methods. I'm not sure if we arrived at those methods separately or together, but they just seem like the most efficient methods to work with realism. Bryce painting, again, we did the national parks. I think it's really smart as an artist to travel as much as possible, take lots of photographs, experience new cultures, not just for yourselves personally and existentially, but also to collect such resource materials that you can then, create works on. This is for Bryce Canyon National Park, just beautiful landscapes that stand out to you. I'm lucky enough to go traveling to Alaska pretty soon in a few days from now with Bear, and so we can take lots of photographs there. I just hope that Kev doesn't ruin my actual experience. Like having the camera in front of my face and double time. Trying to get away from phones, which is definitely the danger that always phone is seeking. So Great Sand Dunes, another national park we visited, just beautiful. Whatever photographs stand out to me, I really kind of respond to and trying to make them work from those photographs. Sometimes you take 100, 200 photographs before you come to the right one or the one that you want to create. This one's here. The Greg Little is drawing there. You can see it in person there. A pretty large drawing. This was a tough one. It took me about 100 hours or so. and we use actually the projector method. I use a projector very similar to that one right there. You project you project the image onto a canvas or onto a museum board, and then you just kind of like you're sitting down here to kind of drawing the basic shapes and lines, the basic outlines of the flower, for example, and then you turn the projector off, and then you can kind of just basically draw observation from a photograph at that point. So that's kind of how we work with these sort of large-scale botanicals. Does that make sense? It's like you start with the projector, so like the basic lines, and then you can kind of just study observationally or finish off with the rest of the observation. So yeah, another pink roses and sunlights. Just another botanical that was at the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum show last year, and I'm used to finishing every single square inch of the drawing with huge detail, but I'm more and more kind of moving toward this idea where just there's certain moments that are high detail, and then maybe the background is just totally bare and empty. That sort of emptiness kind of draws more attention to the more highly finished aspect of the drawing. So we're kind of moving in that direction, where it also saves us about 100,000 times. It's sort of like it's good for us emotionally as well. It's because we don't feel like we have to finish every single square inch of the drawing. So we don't have to go too insane. What there's for is so yeah, just a close up of the tips about pink rose lily sunlight. Working with color is kind of new to me. I think you can probably tell I'm a pencil artist. I've worked with black and white for many years. Obviously, color is pretty recent. Recent experience for me. This is pastel pencil, so very kind of sharp, colorful pencil, kind of dry medium. I love pastel, but color is new. It's harder. Not only do I have to be very precise and accurate, but I also have to perfect or create the right color. So it's another kind of obstacle or another kind of challenge that you're doing. So for me, color is hard, but I really like it. I know people like it a lot too, and so I'm trying to move more and more into color. Lilies after the rain. That's somewhere in the gallery. I'm not sure where, but another new drawing I did. It's over there somewhere. It's over there. Oh, okay. Gotcha. So you guys see it. If you guys walk out, you see it. Kind of a large drawing. This was my first pastel drawing that I ever did. It wasn't too long ago, actually. I just got into pastel just a couple of years ago for the Minnesota Landscape Arboretum show. So very hard drawing to do, but there's just something beautiful about something wonderful about looking very closely at something. With landscapes, you're looking at something beautiful from long range, but you can also there's just so much beauty in just sometimes very small objects like a flower that's just the size of your hands. Or even like a seed or like a blade of grass, and just that thing unto itself is just a marvelous thing, and as far as I like this worthy of observation and so on, basically. So much beauty in the world. Our lives are so short relatively, so it's important to keep looking and keep taking the world in and keep observing and that's what I'm trying to accomplish with these botanical drawings, I guess. Red race. There's a lot of slides that I'll tell you, but I lost some trouble with coloring. I thought this was going to be a very easy drawing. I thought I was going to use one color pencil that was red, and I thought I was going to do is just scribble away and fill in all the spaces with red. But no, this red that I was creating, there's this orange, there's purple, there's yellow, there's blue, there's green, there's all kinds of red, there's pinks. In just it's hard to see in this slide, but in just like one area, there's so many colors within red. I mean, by itself. So I was sort of overwhelmed and surprised by how difficult a simple color of red could be. Definitely learned my lesson. Like, oh, let's try red rose, but my naivete quickly vanished. Grapes on the vine. I did want to do some drawings for the Lowry show, but just again, it's a very close, careful study of a very small thing that I want to celebrate celebrate through its accurate portrayal, I guess. Rose and Brinkhoff. This is actually a drawing that Brian and I did together. I think it's in the gallery somewhere. We did this in 30 hours together, just kind of sitting side by side, me and my brother. It's one of the few drawings we've done in our lives. I can't think of any, maybe 5 or 6 we've done in our lives, where we sit side by side at the canvas, drawing with charcoal on the canvas together at the same time. And after a couple hours of work, we switched spots, and then I didn't care why his work and why he didn't care my work. And so we have different styles. I'm a little bit more faster at filling in the dark spaces and the values, and Bly's a little bit better with making patience and delicacy with the finer details. So we kind of have styles that work well together, so we were able not just because we get along as people, but we were able to kind of work together artistically as well. So stuff working together, stuff so we could work side by side. And there's our website if you want to check it out. I think we'll continue working together in the future. It's just Bly's a great guy. I bet if people were in 10 minutes, it'll be 4 people. And that's us. Should we open up to questions and do that, or what? I'm sure.
Okay.
So,